My first guest tonight is one of the biggest names to come out of Durfee High School, even though he couldn't dribble behind his back. Ernest Moniz is the U.S. Secretary of Energy, tasked with promoting American leadership in science and clean energy innovation, growing the economy, and addressing climate change. And of course, he had a major role in the recent Iran nuclear talks. We spoke last Friday.
So, Mr. Secretary, how does it feel to be maybe on the first and last ever Old Durfee High School show? Is that a good feeling?
Absolutely.
You've never done that before, have you?
We certainly have not. And although I have been to the new Durfee High School, I still pine for the old one on Rock Street.
I'm sure you do. A week ago Sunday was Adoption Day, the beginning of compliance on the part of the Iranians. There's been a debate. How close do you think they were to having the ability to develop a nuclear bomb before this deal was cut?
Well, they certainly were within a couple of months, maybe 3, in terms of generating the nuclear material needed for a weapon. And of course, the IAEA, the International Inspection Agency, will now be completing its report in terms of their previous activities relevant to actually assembling a weapon. Now, that report is incomplete, but the previous part of the investigation that's been made public already said that they had a structured program that was relevant to weaponization.
I want to play you what I think was the most dramatic thing, at least in my position, that the president said in the campaign to get this approved. Just listen, if you would.
Let's not mince words. The choice we face is ultimately between diplomacy or some form of war. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not 3 months from now, but soon.
So did you view that as hyperbole or a legitimate argument by the president?
Well, I think what the president was saying is there's no plan B. And if we were to pull out of the agreement, as obviously a number of members of Congress wanted to, we could have had the worst of all worlds, no agreement, no international cohesion to back us up in whatever we want to do, sanctions unraveling, Iran builds its nuclear program beyond the 20,000 centrifuges they already have by a lot, beyond the 12 tons of enriched material they already have. And then the question is, well, where are we? We have no verification. We have no limits on their program. We know they've had the capacity that we referred to earlier. And so our options would then be extremely limited. And of course, the military option is one of those that would probably have to be considered.
Now, for those of us who are not intimately familiar, as you are, Secretary Kerry is obviously, and hopefully members of Congress, maybe that's a dream unrealized. When we hear that the UN is investigating whether or not they are developing technologies, they being Iran, for an atomic bomb, Samantha Power is saying that they may have violated a UN security resolution in terms of ballistic missile testing. They convict a Washington Post reporter from a secret trial. For the American people, how is that to inspire confidence that this is a country that has any intention of complying with this deal?
Well, the confidence is based on the fact that, first of all, the agreement is not based upon trust at all. It is based upon verification. And indeed, the verification measures in this agreement are unparalleled in non-proliferation negotiating history. That's been declared by independent sources. Not to mention, by the way, that Iran has agreed forever to not engage in so-called weaponization activities. That's, again, unique. Now, we have to verify, but the point is we've put in place tremendous tools to do that. The other point I'd make, Jim, is that the strategic choice was made here, by the way, as was made by Ronald Reagan with the Soviet Union in the 1980s, that the idea of negotiating some kind of grand bargain addressing all the issues we have, whether it was the Soviet Union in the 80s or Iran now, is just a false choice. So the issue was address the key existential issue. For Reagan, it was arms control, and for President Obama, it was the nuclear weapon option.
But, you know, I've only seen you on television before today, and you seem to be a totally relaxed kind of character, if I may say. But you're a scientist, not a diplomat. How stressful was this thing for you? Personally, I mean, was this, I mean, the stakes were huge here. How'd you deal with this in your head, in your body, in your life? What was that? I'm serious. What was that like?
I think the way I deal with it, at least, is I prefer to emphasize the scientist as problem solver. You got something in front of you, and you figure out how to deal with it. And secondly, whether a professional diplomat or not, and the answer is not, the fact is I've always felt that moving ahead in policy and in politics is about relationships. And I think that in this case, we built a strong relationship to understand that even though our countries have a great degree of distrust, I and my fellow negotiator, Dr. Salehi, I would say we had trust in the sense that we were being straightforward. We understood when either of us said something, we meant it. And of course, there was the little advantage of his having a PhD from MIT.
MIT, exactly. So speaking of problem solving, let's move to another big problem that you're in the middle of, the Paris conference on climate, month and a half away. Your quote that I read, the prospects for Paris are remarkably better than 6 or 7 months ago. And when I read it, I said, that's sort of like saying Donald Trump is less scary than he was 6 or 7 months ago. Are you optimistic or are you not? And optimistic about what, if you are?
I'm actually optimistic that we will make substantial progress. In fact, I would argue we already have. And I think the game-changing moment for that globally was the joint announcement by Presidents Obama and Xi last November in Beijing. But very importantly, the follow-up to that in both countries. That is, if it was an announcement and then neither country kind of moved, the impact would dissipate. But the reality is, the United States, we've moved forward with the Clean Power Plan. China, they move forward with a cap and trade announcement. So I think the international community is recognizing that the two largest economies have both taken serious steps to reach their declared objectives. So now we go into Paris. We have 152 countries already having declared their objectives. And overall, I would say they're reasonably ambitious. We're going to need more eventually to reach to stay within our 2-degree cap. But, we have 85% of the global emissions covered already in declarations. So we need to do more. We need more on transparency and verification, et cetera. But I think we're well placed.
Can we come back from Paris to Massachusetts for a couple of just quick seconds? Speaking of MIT, you probably read a couple of days ago, they decided not to divest from fossil fuel companies. Was that in Stanford, where you were?
But
Stanford divest
action
from coal companies. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but I was going to say, but my understanding of the MIT announcement, I'm not connected there anymore.
Yeah,
but it was also combined with a climate action plan for the campus.
Did it go far enough, though?
To tell you the truth, I would have to analyze it in much more detail. But I am encouraged at how various institutions, like universities, various industries, various societal groups, whether it's religious leaders or military leaders, et cetera, are all coming forward and saying, look, this debate has got to end in terms of whether. The only debate is what exactly do we do to address this climate risk?
One more Massachusetts thing. I know you're a nuclear energy proponent. There hasn't been a new one here in a long time. You know about what happened at Plymouth. The decommissioning has been announced. Is there a future for nuclear energy in this country?
I think there is. It will be regional in nature. And this region probably is not going to be one of those. In the southeast, for example, we have 5 reactors under construction. One is about to come online, 4 additional ones in South Carolina and Georgia. And I might say that a big part of that is the regulatory structure. But I would also add, in addition to nuclear and generation in general, there is the issue of the demand side, energy efficiency, et cetera. And something to celebrate is just a couple days ago, Massachusetts again came in #1 on efficiency by a group of economists.
So not only is this the first Old Durfee show, you're the first knight who has ever appeared on the show. It's Sir Ernie of Fall River, is that what it is? Was that what you are?
I have not been called that, I would say, in a jocular...
but you are, right? You don't wear medals, you don't, nothing. I mean, nothing for this knight?
Well, it's the cross of the Order of Prince Henry the Navigator.
Of course.
And as you know, we have just about the only statue of Prince Henry the Navigator in Fall River. So I'll have to go back and do homage to the statue.
Secretary, it's a pleasure. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.